be FaceTime or something or talking on the phone, I'll grab that kid and just keep rubbing that ring in his face.
Work ethic's obviously very important as well.
When it's all said and done, I want 5 quarterbacks.
Recruiting, most important part of the game.
Do you want me to call you Mike or Magic? Because, there's the whole Magic. Yeah, I don't want to go there.
Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of This, That, and the Other. A little different format tonight, trying out a different mode here, and hopefully it won't have as many bugs as the other one did that we were using. But on the panelist today is bama2448 and holdaway, otherwise known as Shannon. Shannon's been playing since looks like January of 06, over 5,000 victories, over a 90% winning percentage. 270 some conference championships, 8,252 national championships. Oh, I'm sorry, 24 national championships. And Bama, he's been with us since December of 14, over 1,500 wins, almost 80% winning percentage, and 49 conference championships. But you're looking for that first national championship, I see.
I am. That ever-elusive championship.
Have you gotten close yet? Have you made it to the big game at least?
Yeah, I made it in D2 and lost to a buddy I work with, actually.
Oh, man. Man,
Ouch.
if you're going to lose, at least you can lose to your buddy. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what it's all about here in What If Sports anyway. And Shannon and I are currently in a conference together where we were together, years and years ago in Heisman, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's the Heisman World. Took over a Southeast Durant team, and he's still there at St. Angelo, or was it Angelo State? Yep. And I was there at my alma mater at ENMU, but man, it's so hard to recruit from that part of New Mexico. You go into Texas, and all the teams in there just bitch slap you and knock you around a little bit. Have you had any luck in any particular place there, Bama? By the way, do you want me to call you Bama, or do you prefer something else?
You can call me Mark, damn it. That don't really matter.
Call you loser? What?
Second place.
How about them hogs? No, Mark, have you had a place that you found difficult to recruit? I mean, ENMU just sucked for D2.
Yeah, usually I found like New Mexico. I had Northern Arizona in one world, and it just was ridiculous at the amount of recruits that weren't there.
Yeah, it's just barren out there, especially in the D2 world. Once you get past about West Texas, it's like nobody lives out there in D2. Humboldt, of course, they've got all the dibs on all the scouts in that area because they're so far from anybody. What about you, Shannon? Any place that you find real good for recruiting?
Well, Valdosta State pretty much has Florida to themselves. That's a great place to recruit from. I had Valdosta State for probably 30 seasons, but I got to be honest, I really didn't win a D2 championship there, even though I should have. That's a great place to recruit from. I mean, in the Northeast and in the Midwest, there's so many recruits, but the problem is there's so many schools. So people can just cut each other's throat if you're not careful. And years ago, I went to Colorado on purpose to force myself to learn how to recruit at a distance. And probably one of the best things I've ever done, because in Colorado, there might be 5 players, and maybe one of them is worth having as a backup. So, you have to learn to recruit at a distance. And I actually played in 2 national championships when I was at Colorado, and that really helped me a lot learn how to recruit at a distance. Well, maybe I learned how not to recruit at distance, maybe. That's maybe the right.
I know Colorado can be tough. I had Air Force in D1 out there for several years in one world, and lo and behold, in order to go see anybody, you did have to get on a jet and fly to visit them because there was nobody within driving distance. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So, yeah, there are places, and locations, and like you said, they can be real fertile, but you've got so many schools out there that'll cut your throat for a recruit. Similar like Texas and D2, if all those schools are manned with humans, it's a bloodbath down there. But if you've only got two or three, there's so much to share that you pretty much, you can avoid battles and still get decent recruits. Kind of like the Northeast you were talking about with, the Pennsylvania area, New Jersey, New York. It's fertile, but it's only really good for you if nobody else is up that way. Mark, what about you as far as D2? I know you've got some experience there, and you took over an old Miami team I had at D1. Hopefully, I left you something to work with. You've been kicking my butt with them on a regular basis.
Yeah, you left me a lot of good recruits to work with there, so I appreciate that.
It was, for me, it was really hard to leave Miami just because anybody in that area is yours for the taking. The nearest competitors are, of course, South Florida, and you've got Central Florida, and then a little bit further North Florida and Florida State. But if there's anybody below that midway of the state of Florida, Miami can pretty much pick and choose what they want. One of the main reasons I moved is that Gators had Florida, and he just disappeared. He left them dormant for 2 or 3 seasons. And the unfortunate thing with WIS is if a human has the team and they don't fill their scholarships, they get the bottom of the barrel recruit. Whereas a non-human coach team, they get some decent quality sim recruits that are out there. So I took that as a personal challenge to try to resurrect that Florida. And well, you've seen what you can do with me at a moment's notice. It is miserable. It's painful, trying to rehabilitate. Even though they're elite, nobody wants to come see you when you've, got crappy seasons back to back. That's D1. So how many teams do you have, or is that your only one that you've got right
That's my only one right now. I've
Okay.
consolidated, just try to focus on one. I forget to set game plans for certain teams, and I just need to focus on one thing right now.
Well, like I've shared in the past, I've got a set routine to kind of keep me from getting into trouble. And that's anytime I'm doing my prep for the next week's opponent, the next night's opponent, I always go to game plan first to make sure
Right.
what defense and what offense I'm looking at. And then I go to the playbook and make the necessary adjustments. Because I found that way too many times I do, oodles and oodles of time of work to get them playbooks set up, and lo and behold, they weren't in my game plan, and I'm wondering why am I passing the ball when I'm set to all run? So that's Shannon's forte. He likes to run, and he's got about 10 teams right now, and they're all running.
I'm a little Mike Myers. I'm a little Mike Myers. That's what I am.
Yeah. You're trying to MF and then Myers at St. Olaf.
Yeah, I'm a little Mike.
Yeah. Well, you got Menlo and Austin.
Yeah, I like Menlo. I like being on the West Coast, and as I said last time, when I came back, my plan was literally to be a little Mike, and I ended up in Austin and was going to jump from Austin to Menlo, but I actually liked Austin. I liked being in Texas, and it's a different kind of recruiting. You have a lot more people that want to jump in, so it's a little bit more competitive. Usually on the West Coast, if there's a good player, you can just about get them if they're within 500 miles, unless the West Coast gets busy. Like T-Book is out there in a couple of worlds now at California Lutheran. So that makes it a little bit interesting. There's a couple of other guys that have jumped in out there that are pretty good recruiters. So it's gotten a little bit more interesting. But you have to be able to recruit at distance if you're on the West Coast in D3. And that Colorado experience really helped me with that. Austin, it's not so much about recruiting at distance. It's a lot closer.
Oh, yeah. Now, your teams are primarily D3 and D2. Mark's is at D1. Mark, is there a reason you've chosen to pick and stay with one team at D1? Or is that your favorite, or you just not have a care for any of them? You're just at Miami because they rock.
That to me, D1's it's a lot easier to recruit because, in my opinion, I don't really scout for potential. If they're high in my rankings, I take them because to me, they're not really going to grow a lot like they would
exactly
in D2 and D1 AA.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's what makes the learning curve of the overall Gridiron Dynasty football empire so steep in some regards is because you get familiar with D3 and D2, where you're trying to get the best players with the best potential because you have an opportunity to grow them at those levels. Whereas I've said before, D1, they're all bunched up near the top. And if you can snag you a couple upper echelon quality players, who cares about potential and work ethic? They're already studs for the most part, and they're not going to get that much better. So when guys move up with the philosophy that they've found successful at D2 and they go into D1 AA or even D1, they're kind of shell shocked with, why they're having difficulty recruiting because, when I'm at D1, I don't care about potential. I don't care about work ethic. Give me that high quality core field stud.
Exactly.
It's really interesting. Each of the levels, again, in my opinion, each of the levels offer something different. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, D3 or D2, D1's where every one of those levels is a little different and offers something different. D3, it's about recruiting potential, right? I mean, it really is. At D2, you still need to recruit potential, but you better learn how to game plan. And the thing you just talked about making sure you have the right game plan, rest assured, Big Papa has eaten my lunch for about 4 years, and I just figured out one of the reasons that in the fourth quarter he always kills me. It's because I had the wrong game plan in. It took me four seasons to figure that out. So at D1 AA, you have to learn to be patient recruiting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Big time. You can't run out there and grab people and think I'm set, because next thing you know, Miami comes by and takes every single recruit you've got, and you're left with no money and a lot of Sims. And at D1, it really is about game planning, and it's not so much. I mean, recruiting is important, but if you're one of the top programs, it's more about your game planning. If you can do any kind of decent recruiting, at least in my experience, it has been.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Now, you mentioned that sitting pretty only to be slapped around later at D1 AA. I had that happen to me quite a bit when I was at Bethune-Cookman because, you've got Central Florida, South Florida, Miami. I mean, you've got a good recruiting class sitting there, and lo and behold, for some reason or another, they have difficulties and lose out on some battles, and yours is easy picking. Who wants to go to Bethune-Cookman when Miami's knocking on the door? Or Florida comes visiting. Really? Now, Mark, you said you're in Alabama. Where at?
Huntsville.
Uh-oh. I think he froze on us.
Yeah, I think he froze on us.
Yeah, Mark, you froze on us. Where you at in Alabama?
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama.
We lost your volume.
Let me see if I can fix it.
I can still hear Shannon.
All right.
I can actually see Bama, and you're the one that's frozen for me.
Okay, you're back.
All right. You still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're Mark cutting out. I can't hear you.
Huh.
Can't hear Mark. All right, well, let's go to some of the comments there on the that's the
I've got you, man. I've got you, Bama. I don't have Majique, but I've got
you. Don't have Majique? I thought it might be on my end.
Yeah, it's cutting out. Hopefully, one of y'all can answer this. Maybe Shannon can jump on. You've got a stud wide receiver. How do you set up your formations to make him the primary receiver? And how do you set up your playbook to get him the ball? You want to take this one first, Shannon, if you can? You're still with us?
Yeah, well, there's two different ways to look at this. If you're at D3, you have to look at the default distribution to see where that ball is going to go. And then inside your playbook itself, you want to set that wide receiver's percentage as high as possible at those primary depths. So, for example, if if you're throwing medium and you set let's say the medium depth is 40%, and you want that wide receiver to be the target, then in the actual formation you have to put 100% for that wide receiver, so that when the distribution actually randomly goes to medium, you want that wide receiver getting the ball thrown to him. At D2, it's a little different because you can play a few more games at D2, but it's still similar.
Yeah, usually when I was running,
I lost Shannon.
Have you got me, Bama? Because I've got you.
Yeah, I got you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Audio difficulties.
I'll let you answer for the D1 side because that's the same thing as D2.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah. If I have a stud wide receiver and I know he's leaping bound, and if I'm running trips, I'm lining him up at wide receiver 3 and throwing to him 100% of the time. So he's going to be matched up against that. If they're not paying attention, he's going to be matched up against their lower DBs, and hopefully I can like that of him.
I wonder if Majique got that.
Yeah, I'm getting all kind of nasty audio cuts. Let's look at K Sparks. He's got a question that he posted about leaving starters in and running score or generating the big stats, or do you play your reserves in the second half? What are the pros and cons to doing either of those? The preference is to play your underclassmen to get some formation IQ and maybe increase their work ethic. What do you think about that, Mark?
So what I do, I set all my players at 95%. That way, whoever my backup there, they're going to get a little bit of playing time. Hopefully that 32, 33% threshold get a start, but really my starters are in for the whole game. That makes sense.
I don't know what's going on with the audio, but I'm getting about every fourth word from you guys. Are you hearing me okay? Maybe it's on my end.
Yeah, we're not getting you. We're getting each other, but we're not getting you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting like every second or third word. I'll play out all right on the live version. Maybe it's just the feedback that we're getting. What about you, Shannon? Any thoughts on more or getting playing time?
Well, I actually posted to this forum, and what I said in the forum was that at least at D3, D2, for me, I want to get that early playing time if at all possible because I think that helps with work. I think that helps with your work ethic. It is a tricky game though, because you really have to pay attention to what happens in the first half, because you can trust me. It happened to me 3 times last year on my teams because I got sidetracked and wasn't looking against Sims, and I lost a game in every single world that played that day because I had all my underclassmen in. So it's a tricky game, and the thing I posted was, if you look at the top tier teams, look at what they're doing. Certainly, it's one of the things that I saw that when I first came back that some of the upper teams were doing is they were playing their freshmen and sophomores a lot to get their work ethic up. But I think there's some trade-offs too as the season progresses. There are some really, really good coaches that have told me that you don't want to do that. And then the opposite side is some people have said, no, do it. So I think you just got to try it and see which way you like it best. And I think it varies by level.
And, I look at it too with I look at it too with the quality or the makeup of the team. If you've got a guy in your roster, freshmen or even sophomores, that are going to be nothing more than backups when they're seniors, even though the underclassmen, if you've got sophomores that are going to be backups as seniors, to hell with them. I'm playing my freshmen and my upper quality guys to get that win, and hopefully at the same time get some extra playing time for those guys. Those backups when they're up there in their senior year, that tells me that they've been pretty much worthless all the way up the ladder to their senior year, and they've probably been just backups all along. So I'm not worried about getting them playing time. It's those guys that are going to star for me, or hopefully do so as seniors or juniors, that I want to throw into the game as early as possible, as often as possible, without hurting my chances of winning a ball game. And that's where you get that balancing act that too many times is, it's tough to know enough is enough regarding playing time when you start sacrificing your ability to win. Let's look at another one here from newbies. Did that pop up there yet? Newbie mistakes. What do you think the biggest mistakes are from newbies, Mark?
This does not play out like traditional football. So meaning is the 3-4 can stop a shotgun defense. Shouldn't happen, but it does.
Amen.
So you got to adjust your thinking just a little bit. That's the biggest mistake I made when I came in. I'm running front way. How am I getting shut down?
Yep.
And
70% completion rate is not necessarily winning football. You think, oh, I'm throwing the ball 45 times a game and I'm completing 70% of my passes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling up the yards, but I'm getting beaten by a team with a 40% completion rate. There's something to be learned from that experience. And I think recruiting, by far, at every level, if you can't recruit, you can't win. You have to learn how to recruit, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, every time. Because it's all about who's on your team. I'm going to see if I can pop off and then pop back on, see if.
all right.
Man, he's all over the place, isn't he? That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. All right.
The scary part is how damn addictive this game is. Would you agree?
Yes. I've wanted to quit so many times. I'm out. No, one more season. One more season.
I swear. Just like he was talking about being in the same conference as me in Angelo State. 3 seasons ago, I said, I'm out of here, man. I'm so frustrated because I'm trying at the 2 different levels to win with just running, just the wishbone. And it's brutal and it's frustrating and it ought to work.
Right.
But the engine doesn't allow it to work.
I know it.
That looks better. At least you're moving now on the screen, Majique.
Guys, I don't know what to tell you. This is a bunch of crap on my end. I'm hearing every second word. You're freezing. It looks like one of those, looks like the old MTV video. I can't remember what it was now, but the one where they're doing all the motion. All the freeze frame crap. I think a drone flew by the house and hit me with some EMF or something. I don't know what's going on. Crazy. Okay, now for some reason everything popped in. So I'm going to go back to the question I asked 3 hours ago. Mark, where are you from in Alabama?
I'm from Huntsville, Alabama.
I didn't hear shit in Alabama. That's just crazy.
Huntsville.
I was just going to say, I spent a year or 2 in Anderson, Alabama when my dad was there with the Army. And that's where I learned about how severe the Auburn, Alabama game is every year. I was in like 4th grade, and I was watching family members beat the crap out of each other when the Iron Bowl won. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yep, that's all true.
Even back in even up in Shannon and my stomping grounds, Virginia Tech and Virginia don't beat the crap out of each other family-wise on that. They make cuss at one another and talk shit. But I mean, the
Slash
Alabama
tires.
Aniston or the Alabama Auburn guys were all but shooting at each other.
Yeah, it gets a little violent around here. Not that serious.
Big time. Guys, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a command decision and cut this thing short tonight. And I apologize to you. We thought we had the bugs fixed, but apparently we don't. It's ticking me off. I'm going to do some more proving runs and trial and errors and whatever else you want to call it. And then I may just get a whole new provider and tell AT&T to kiss my white butt.
Hey, Majique, before you go, I just got one quick question for you. That new team that you have they're in the same conference as me. What state is it in?
See, I don't hear anything you're saying, Shannon. This is screwy.
Dang.
I'm going to call it a night.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Bama, it's nice to meet you, man.
We'll try to figure
nice
out what the
meeting you
heck's
too,
going
man.
on. Have you guys back on again some other time. I mean, I enjoyed having you, definitely.
I was going to give Majique crap about coming down into Texas
Talk
out
to
of
y'all
Oklahoma.
later.
He
Love
needs
you,
to stay in Oklahoma.
He needs to stop coming down in the Miami territory.
First thing he does when he comes back into conference is jumps on every recruit I've got just because he's got twice as many scholarships as me. He wants to pump me around. I don't get it. I'm so nice to him. And how's he treat me? Oh, you guys take care, man. Y'all have a good evening.
All right,
See
you do the
y'all.
same, man.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.